are you looking up tonight? Mulling under the moonlight. Never thought to let it go. Soul searching out of your window. Giant eyes, never sleep unless your eyes by mine. Holding on to what we call divine. Do you think we're running out of time? Too late to stay, too dark for you to head home. Lay here with me, we'll watch another episode. Don't say goodnight. Stay by my side. Daylight rushes in over your emerald eyes. Guess that means that we're all out of time. Like a dream, you only come out at night. Am I crazy? Watch the sun as it's fading. Can't believe I'm waiting around on you. So complicated. I thought that you would leave it, yet here we are under the moon. Too late to stay, too dark for you to head home. Lay here with me, we'll watch another episode. Don't say goodnight. Stay by my side. Too late to stay, too dark for you to head home. Lay here with me, we'll watch another episode. Don't say goodnight. Stay by my side. Too late to stay, too dark for you to head home. Lay here with me, we'll watch another episode. Don't say goodnight. Stay by my side.
Hi. Oh, back to life, back to reality. City back to reality. It was a nice temporary respite in midweek, wasn't it? Where we could, have a sort of a little tiny period of, what was it, 2 days, Thursday and Friday, where question marks, are City back, etc. Have we turned a corner? Obviously, we knew that we did a show on that yesterday, and I basically concluded that we haven't really turned a corner, and that's sort of been illustrated today, unfortunately, of course. So in today's post-mortem, as always, what we are going to be doing is discussing the match, what went well, what went badly for City, mainly. A little bit of focus on Palace, but obviously this is mainly a City-themed series in terms of our post-mortem, so there will be a focus on City, of course. And sort of like having a chat about, like, is there even any point talking about it now? Is it inevitable that this happens every single time? Or could we be doing something slightly differently? Of course, selection issues aren't ideal, of course, but is that good enough? Spoilers, I don't think so, but we'll be getting into that and more today. And as I say, with an idea on what can be done or what could have been done today to maybe do something different in respect of outcome and indeed respect of performance. As always, thank you guys for joining me. I opted to not get pizza because I'm spending far too much money on pizza with all these City not wins, so I'm just going to make myself some burgers tonight instead with the patties in the fridge. I know no one was interested in that, but I thought I'd let you know anyway, because why not? You'll also notice I've changed my top because that was a double-layered top I was wearing, and with all these lights, it was far too hot. There will also be an analysis video out tomorrow. I'll try to do that. After this stream ends, I'm going to rewatch the game. That'll be fun. I'm going to rewatch the game and then see if my current conclusions are correct or not, etc. And that's a thing. But as always, guys, this is back and forth conversation. I want to get your thoughts in. Leave a like on the video and that sort of thing. Cloud Computing says, at this rate, we're finishing 8th to 10th. I think that's a bit of an exaggeration. Can't lie, won't lie. Hello, Matty. League's gone, says Mars. Pep's lost the plot. We could only hope for 2 days, but what a glorious 2 days they were. Yeah, we'll touch on the duels, Dave. It's just pathetic, isn't it, to be honest? Stinky, smelly, foul, rancid, malodorous, reeking, musty, stenchy performance. 100% Jono. Yeah, that is atrocious. I don't think we played bad to Spartacus. We just had a few inevitabilities happening. Walker being unaware, playing slow. Indeed, I am indeed that. Musty, absolutely. Hello, Mr. Brawl. And they don't like giving your opinion on reffing, but what we thoughts on the bollock second yellow for Rico Lewis. It wasn't a second yellow, but he shouldn't have gone in for the challenge. And it's even if he was on the pitch, I don't think it would have mattered. I can't lie to you. That sounds nice, Spartacus. Lovely. Lewis Jenner Stink says AO007. I was going to fall asleep in the match replay. I can't wait for that. Chaps and chapettes. Right, so yeah, let's get started on the lineup show, because I feel like this is the most contentious area for discussion in terms of the lineup. Because I was disappointed that Grealish didn't start, that Doku didn't start. And I tweeted as such. I said, that's a shame. Now, I was very generic in my tweet, and I just said, it's a shame they aren't starting. I didn't say, it's a shame Pep isn't starting them. Now, there's a key difference there. Because I don't know what the injury situation is. In fact, Pep came out before the game saying, I don't think Grealish is fully fit. I don't think Doku is fully fit either. So I'm going to take him at face value and assume that those players were not able to start. And if they weren't able to start, then they weren't able to start. I'm assuming that's what the medical staff have told him. Maybe that's what the players have told him as well. So my starting point in respect of lineup isn't going to be Pep got the lineup wrong, because I'm going to take it at face value that those players were not available. However, I don't think that absolves Pep of any blame in respect of how he set up the available players. So if we're saying that he had to start these 11 players because of the injury situation and because the only other players on the bench are, goalkeepers and academy players. Now, maybe you can say academy players should have started, but I don't think that's really the main thrust of what I want to say here. And I mentioned this on the watch-along at the end, so if you were here at the end of the watch-along, then you'll know exactly what I'm about to say. And let me know what you guys think about this. But so this is what we actually ended up doing. Okay? This isn't what I thought we were going to do. This is what we did do. Okay? Palace is whatever. Yeah. Again, Palace, very good. Exploited us on the counter-attack a number of times, but for Ruben Diaz, they would have scored a fair few. They would have scored more goals, in all honesty, but for Ruben Diaz blocks. So shout out Palace. Another team in a long line of teams who are just finding it far too easy to play through us, whether it's a counter-attack or not. But let's assume, as I say, starting point, we have to make a team out of these 11 players, and there is no there's no argument to that, apart from Edison instead of Ortega. Side note, you all know my thoughts on that. In my view, Edison should be starting. But let's focus on the outfield players right now. Now, why did it work so well against Forest? Because it's the exact same system. There was more fluidity against Forest, but in the main, this is the same team. Sorry, this is the same formation, the same shape in general. Differences, but in general, that's the key vibe. So why did it work against Forest? Why less so today? From a City perspective, because it obviously worked a lot against Forest because they allowed us to do it. Palace less so. But anyway, just from a City perspective, why didn't it work? Well, what the team I wanted, based on these 11 players, was trying to, again, if we're assuming Grealish isn't available, why did it work? Why did Grealish starting work? We all know why by now. I feel like the P word, physicality, the PH word, has been said about 1 million times on this channel, and indeed across every single City channel out there, but it's because it's such a vital facet of this conversation. So why did it work with Grealish? Because of the physicality. Because of dual winning. Get onto that. Because of grit. And maybe just sort of different like intangibles as well. I think determination is maybe one of those as well. And just the tenacity to not get easily out-muscled on the ball and ball protection, and that's what Jack Grealish is. He's always been that. It's why I was always really happy when Grealish started against the better sides, last season and the season before. That's why I was a big advocate for that, because he provides us a bit more control, solidity, grit, steel, and so on and so on and so on. So that's what we got in the midfield with Grealish, okay? Starting point, we can't have that. He can't start. That is the starting point, whether we believe it or not, for argument's sake. So how are we going to try to best replicate that? Because we have to replicate it. We simply must. Because if we don't replicate it, then we will see exactly what happened against Brighton, as against Spurs, as against Fulham, as against Wolves. I mean, even naming teams that we won against, but the issue was still persistent. As against Liverpool, as against other Spurs game. Okay? So we have to try to replicate it somehow. So how can we do it with these players? The only way to do it, because what you must not have is a midfield which consists of Bernardo, Gundogan, Lewis. That clearly can't happen in my eyes. That is insanity from my perspective. The only solution, therefore... A comment came up on my thing, but then it disappeared. Why did that happen? I'm being stupid. A message retracted. Oh, you retracted. Oh, fast. So how do you do that? The only solution is Nunes. That is it. And I feel like I am flogging a dead Catalonian horse here. He is the only solution in respect of that, if Grealish isn't an option. Now, I know people are going to say, but Nobbins, we know Pep doesn't want to do that because Nunes is a little bit stinky on ball in the centre. Now, I could go on and on and on and on and on about how the rest of our midfielders are just not competent enough on the ball, despite them being extremely control-based players, like, Bernardo, Gundogan, Lewis, whoever. We saw against Newcastle, even when Kovacic was in there, they kept giving away the ball. But, alternative. Why didn't we just position Nunes at the tip? Oh God, I've accidentally made KDB and Nunes lovers. There we go. We'll talk about De Bruyne in a second. If you don't want to play him deeper because you don't trust his build-up work and whatnot, and you're scared about him losing the ball in more dangerous zones, then play him as the most advanced midfielder. Because at least then, there is something going on in the centre. And then what you can do is this. We can do that, can't you, I suppose? That's one way to do it. That is one way to do it. Now, immediately, this team is better in my view. And that's with the same players. Because now what we've done is we've created this dynamic. We've replicated that dynamic. And we know, based on the Forest game, for example, that Bernardo needs someone like a Kevin De Bruyne to unlock him. So that would have been a nice thing to see. Again, is it ideal? No. But immediately, with that slight change of just changing players around, you've got a more physical base in Nunes. You've got an actual true partnership out here on the right-hand side. And given that Savio... Now, I'm a big fan of Savio, as you guys know, but he's clearly struggling. Or rather struggled in this game. Why not pop him on the left and simplify his game and just say, right, Savio, your job is to beat your man and put a floater up for Haaland. Simplifies the game. You don't need to worry about anything else. I still think his best position is on the right, but right now, given the situation at City, maybe this would work. Now, if you're not going to do that, because I don't know why. So he's still insistent on, Nunes playing there. So the first one, that's what I would have liked to have seen. And indeed, that's what I thought we were going to see. Let's say that no, there is no starting point in which we can have Nunes in the midfield because Pep doesn't accept that as a concept, even though that in itself is an error. It's like, right, okay, in my view anyway. So this was how we set up, right? So why not just do this? I'm not being funny, But that tiny little tweak changes a lot. It doesn't improve our physical floor because literally all I'm doing is changing Bernardo and De Bruyne starting positions. But what it does do is it just gives Savio a little bit more to do and it locks him a little bit more. We had nothing, absolutely nothing happening down our right-hand side against Palace. It was so easy for them. Mitchell, I don't think he had to do anything from a defensive perspective, really. And I don't think that's like a Savio issue. It's an issue of he's just not being given any help. Because Walker's there, and he's not doing anything. And De Bruyne's there. Sorry, Bernardo's there, and that's not really his game either. He's not really going to find Savio with those balls that Kevin De Bruyne can do. And obviously De Bruyne did some nice work in the centre. It's the centre, that's absolutely fine. I just felt like there was this really weird obsession with forcing the play down our left, down the left to Nunes. And lovely, we did score a goal via a cross at left wing. And that was lovely. But it's simply not enough, quite frankly. It's not enough. And that's not Nunes' fault. And he actually played well today, obviously. I'm not trying to downplay his game. But I'm just saying that Nunes was basically he was who we were going for on the left. And he can't do that all on his own, essentially. We need some threats on the other wing, ideally. We can't just have everything focused down the left side. That's a madness, in my view. So I was very confused at that. How do you join the Discord? The link should be in the description there. If it's not available, or the link doesn't work for whatever reason, let me know and I will send another link in the chat. But yes, we do have a Discord server if you guys would like to join it. The link is in the video description of every single video. So I'm of the view that this is sort of Pep's fault in a way. There are obviously mitigating circumstances and there is context in terms of the amount of players, the quantity of players able to be selected. But I still think that you could have lined them up in a better way, in a way that was more in keeping with the Forest game, where again, we looked, De Bruyne was active everywhere, and that was because he was slightly deeper than, let's say, today when he was positioned slightly further up the pitch. So I was very confused at that, and again, just left Savio. I like Savio as a player. He's a young player. I think he will come good, and I think he's having a good first season. Bear in mind, I think he's having a very good first season, considering the context of Pep wingers at City. But he can't just be left on his own to try to do the entire right side on his own. That's not going to work. He's good at 1v1s. He's not able to do it if he just keeps getting doubled up. And without the support of a Walker, who, even if he does try to support, is just going to get in the way. Bernardo is not Kevin De Bruyne, so he can't unlock him in the same manner. I just don't get it. I think that I wanted to see Savio used in the same way Bernardo was used against Forest. I think that would have been a lovely time had by all, and we would have had great threats on both sides. As it was, it didn't happen. And that was maddening to me. Absolutely maddening. So I will blame Pep to an extent. Now, does that mean... I feel like I've got to say this every single time. Doesn't mean that I'm Pep out, obviously. I'm not crazy. He's still the best manager in the world, and he's still our best chance of winning, the league next season and the season after that. He will obviously need to be backed in the summer, and we know that fundamentally this squad isn't good enough from a quality perspective. We can all appreciate that. So that's a thing. That's an issue. Those are my thoughts on the lineup. If Grealish was available to start, then he should have started. Obviously. But my starting point is he wasn't able to start because that's what Pep has told us. So I'm just going to take his word for that and not try to talk about hypotheticals of what if this player started, what if that player started. We're working within the framework of the players. Spartacus said that's a very good point. Is it about preserving fitness? And maybe that is the case. It's still inexcusable for me to not play Nunes in the centre. So let's go back to the line for a second. So let's add that caveat. So let's now say De Bruyne has to start higher up to preserve fitness, which is a totally legitimate thing to say. Okay? I'm still of the view that this is better. I'm still of the view that is better. I can't be convinced otherwise, I don't think. I can't be convinced otherwise. Then you've at least still got some. Pick your poison. You still don't have like the great link up on the right hand side, but you've at least got something going on in the center to try to prevent opposition counterattacks, not get overrun in the midfield, and actually win some duels. What was the stat? We won 1 duel in terms of our midfielders. 1 duel all game or something insane like that. I'll look into the data properly after when I prep the tactical video, but that is pathetic. That's a harsh word, but I actually don't know what other word there is to frame that. That is embarrassing. That is an embarrassing stat. And the frustrating thing is, it's nothing, chill, Tom. It's nothing new. It's nothing new. So Savio's, no, he's described himself as a right-sided player. He played a lot for Girona on that left side. Spartacus, I'd be very interested to know where did he play in the academy. But he's labelled himself as a right winger. In my opinion, he plays better on the right wing. He's got more, he can utilise his attributes better. But either way, so even though I don't really want Savio on the right long term, such is the necessity to either have a proper right-sided partnership to get De Bruyne there, or again, if we're having the caveat of you can't have De Bruyne there because of fitness, then get some physicality in there, something going on there. Have someone do De Bruyne's running for him, and someone do the carrying for him with pace, with strides, with strength. Alas, alas, alas. I don't agree, Spartacus, because at least I've got the physicality of Nunes. That's the point. I don't want this, but you added the caveat of not having De Bruyne in there. But at least I've got some physicality in there. And at least I've simplified Savio's game a little bit by doing that. It's not ideal. Again, my team would be this. Just to recap, what would I do? Where's it gone? That's what I'd do personally. I think just have Nunes do KDB's running for him. I think that works personally. But there we go. Wait, is Forest beating United at least? That might be interesting. Oh, that's... Oh my god, they're winning 3-1 as well. Oh my god, United are going to lose now, get embarrassed at Old Trafford, and they're going to beat us in the derby, aren't they? Oh my Christ. Yeah, that's going to happen. It's poetry. That's actually going to happen. Crazy, lads. Crazy. Craziness. Madness. Did we have a raid from LB, by the way? If so, shout out. I think we did. If someone could confirm that for me. I think we did. Normally you guys say LB read. There we go. Shout out. You can't join because the link is invalid. I will sort that out for you, matey. Just let me do that right now. Invite. Copy. There you go, mate. There you go. Discord link if you want to join it, mate. There you go. Lovely, lovely. I'm going to catch up on the chat, and we'll get back to it. That's just crap a base score against us. It may just be a case of limitations of some players compared to others in that system, says Thomas. Again, I'm not going to let him get away with that. I'm not going to let him get away with that. I think that there is a method. There is a method in all of this for me. On the plus side, United just conceded. Yeah, there you go. Savvy in the middle could work with it would be it would be a system change. Like you'd have to go back to like probably Walker pushing up to right wing, and you know that's a thing. Yeah, like the stream, big up guys. It's a shame the Gundo goal didn't go in, but it was a very tiny probability effort, wasn't it? There you go, 117 duels. That's a madness, isn't it? Absolute madness. Absolutely insane. Yeah, big up Woods, big him up. Chris Woods makes it through. That's quite funny. Savvy to isolating these runners. You just need some support. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, some support. Logic is hilarious. Tell me more. Tell me more. If Pep plays stupid tactics versus Rags, we're going to lose. Getting LB the sub we all needed. Is that left back or is that LB? I don't know what that means. Grealish in the middle. Pep complained about lack of runners in midfield 2 years ago and hasn't got anyone to fix that. Someone was crying out for Bruno. Absolutely, we all know that, though. Savio in the middle could absolutely not work. He gives away the ball a lot. He's very one-footed, and his biggest asset is his one-for-one ability out wide, says Smian. And in terms of like positioning him, you'd only be able to make it work by having Walker push up or pop him on the left and have Gvardiol push up. It's not ideal, is it? I want him to be out 1v1 there. All of City's goals conceded from corners this season have been scored by the player Walker's marking. That's surely not true. Surely. That would be insane. I mean, to be fair, it wouldn't surprise me. The issue with the Walker situation is that there's not much else to say about it that we already know. There's only so many times that we can sit here and say Walker is finished. Walker is done. He should not be playing at the top level for City anymore. He's a massive liability. He keeps making defensive errors. He's not even good at marking set pieces. He's not good at marking from open play. He's not a leader. He's a poor organizer. He can't even organize himself in terms of like where his starting point is. He's losing his pace. He's losing his physicality in that sense as well, and the strength, the tenacity. I don't know. I don't know what else there is to say about him. It's just boring at this point. Do you know what I mean? We all know there is an issue there. We all know there's an issue. Clearly. But I don't know what else there is to say about that. He's there. He exists. I don't know how many more mistakes need to be made before Pep just goes, I've got to just play JSP instead of you, mate, at this point. Because you could have had, in theory, a back four of Lewis, JSP, Diaz, Gvardiol. It's not great. It's not ideal, obviously. But I don't know. Unless someone please correct me, from my view, I thought that we conceded 2 goals from 2 individual errors today. The first one, maybe you can say, Gundogan should do better in the duel. That's a systemic issue because our midfield isn't good at winning duels. Maybe that's a thing. But then the follow-up action is like, why? Why is playing him on? Why playing him on? And maybe that's a system. Okay, fine. But then why are you not just able to pick up your man from a corner? That's odd. That's odd. Are the top 4 chances at risk? I don't think so, to be fair, because let's say for argument's sake that, I'm very convinced Liverpool and Arsenal finish ahead of us, and I've thought that for a couple of months, in fairness, I've said that. Let's also say Chelsea finish ahead of us. Then the teams you're looking at are Forest, Villa, Brentford, Brighton, Fulham, Bournemouth, Spurs, Newcastle United. I don't think that we're at risk of 3-2-1 now. I don't think we're at risk of any of those genuinely overtaking us. So I think that we'll be fine for 4th place. But the fact that we're having to say 4th place is still mad at this point. I do think that we will finish 3rd. That does depend on the reinforcements that come in Jan, in fairness. If we go crazy and we sign Bruno Guimaraes and we sign a right back and we sign, like I said, I know it's not going to happen, but for argument's sake, let's say we sign a centre back, a right back and a midfielder, then we'll probably finish 2nd. But it'll probably be too far away from 1st to even entertain that. Because Liverpool, 1 win away, and they're going to be, 12 points ahead of us now? It's just too much. And then you've got Arsenal as well. If it was one team to slip up a lot, maybe. It's the fact it's 2 that you've got to do that in. Yeah, it's apparently 3-2 now. There. I could have it on in the background, but I'm just not in the mood, I'll be honest with you. Oh, Fairs, Julian Fairs. Thoughts on trying to get Trent on a free? He's never going to come to City, is he? He'd be lovely, but he's never going to come to City. Never going to happen. Never going to happen. I think we need Bruno. Kimmich. A lot of our issues are sorted. Give me Bruno, absolutely. Walker's been shocking this season, and the stats back it up. Why hasn't a decent replacement been bought? I don't know. Yeah, Herbal, genuinely. I don't think that's being reactive. Just, again, and Mark Stats tweeted it. I'm of the view that, correlation does not equal causation, but there is a mad stat going around. The amount of points that we earn when Walker isn't in the side compared to when he is in the side. Again, I'm not a correlation equals causation sort of guy, but I do also think that there are many issues at City. Walker is one of them. On an individual level, he's clearly the biggest issue. It's not as simple as take him out, we start to perform better. But I still, unless there is no other option, for me, I don't think you play him. And I want, and in fact, someone tagged me in it on Twitter, and this is something that we chatted about at the start. We chatted about this at the start of the season when it was, the glory days, when Roger didn't have an ACL, and we were going into it optimistic, and I thought we were going to win the title again, and we probably would have done but for that very unfortunate situation. Okay, my brain keeps on fucking up. What was I saying? Yeah, I was talking about how Nunes, in order to get Nunes into this team, because I was looking at all those midfield options. This is before Bob was injured as well. Good times. I was looking at that team and I was like, the only way I can see Nunes getting into this team is either by becoming an auxiliary winger or an auxiliary fullback. Maybe where he does like a Rico Lewis vibe, where he starts at right back and maybe moves into midfield. You know how Gvardiol didn't do it today, but you know how Gvardiol, for example, against Forest, started at left back, moves into left central midfield. Or maybe Nunes could, go into like a pivot alongside Gundogan, or as I say, maybe go slightly higher if you don't want that. Something like that might work. And I don't care if Nunes has never played at right back for City before. Any physical human being would be better than what he's offering. At least Nunes would offer some pace there as well, and strength, etc., and surely some rational awareness. Surely it's going to be better than what we currently have. So I would actually like to see that happen if Akanji remains out for an extended period. That's what I would like to see. That might be interesting. Just to get him out of the team. If we're not willing to play JSP, just to get him out of the team, to be honest with you. That's what it's come to. That's what it's come to. It's madness. I don't know, Mad Hatter. I don't know. Yeah. Walker's been shit. Doesn't have defensive awareness. He can't keep a defensive line. At this point, it ain't on him. But we are stuck between a rock and a hard place. Yeah, and I'm sure, again, at this stage, he probably doesn't think he should be playing this much football. But, yeah, it's just sad. It's just sad at this point. Like, he stopped being that guy towards the end of the treble winning year, And last season he was bad. Really bad. This season he's got worse. He's gotten worse. So it's a thing. People join the LNobbins Nation Discord server. We need a community of sane, rational City fans for therapy, says Craig. I can't promise it's rational in there. It's just like a lads group chat. I'll be honest with you. But if you're a certain level of member, you get to join the phone-ins, which is fun. Which we do via Discord. I think say we're spending Jan. They hate overpaying. They've got to, though, Mad Hat. If they don't, then I actually don't know what to say. It is just negligence to the nth degree if they do not do that. Negligence to the nth degree. Stat. Okay, yeah. So again, I'm not saying that correlation equals causation. I'm not saying that at all. However, this is from Mark Stats, and he's even said correlation is equal causation, which I love. This is why I follow him. Man City averaged 2.2 more points per match when Walker does not start. Now again, read into that however you will, but the data shows that this season, City are averaging 0.8 points when Walker starts and 3 when he doesn't. I don't think it's as simple as that. There's far more going on. But it can't help, and indeed it doesn't help when you are basically handing your opponent a couple of easy goals a game. Like every single team goes into matches against City, I feel like, looking at Walker as, let's have you. Let's be having you. We need 3 players. I agree, at least 3. Chouameni, Theo, and Wirtz. We have to reproduce the treble winning system. That's my favourite system, Spartacus, so big up to you. I know that Pep is dead set on this 3-1-6, and it can work, and there is I like the theory, but it requires very specific players for it, and I think even if Rodri was available, we would still struggle, in my opinion. I'm with you, Spartacus. I want my treble winning system back. I want my 3-2 back. I want my box midfield back. Gimme, 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 gimme. Just catch up on some more comments, and then I'll get back into some more thoughts on the game. Here's a fault, says A, we need more defensive stability. You need to buy in Jan, just do an overhaul in the summer. I don't agree. I think if you can get a player in Jan, and this is the thing, if you can get a player in Jan, oh my goodness, my finger's popping off here. Why has that done that? Thank you very much. I don't know why that's gone over there. Goodness me, why is the camera messing up? Are you tracking me or something? What are you doing, big boy? Anyway, thank you, Ugly Hood Rat, for the thing. Super chatters of at least £2. Get a fortune. That's a new feature of my streams. Fortune for Ugly Hood Rat. Grant yourself a wish this year. Only you can do it. The fortune cookie has spoken. All hail the Haaland fortune cookie. Big up. But yeah, so just going back to this. It's important to bring a player in who you were going to bring in anyway. We shouldn't be signing a player for the sake of signing a player. Like, we shouldn't be... Let's say, again, I feel like I'm having a go at this guy all the time, and I swear I'm not, but Ederson, Atalanta, I don't like him as a City player. I don't think he's good enough. I don't think you should just go for someone like that just for the vibes and just cause. My bald filter's stuck. There we go. No, that's the wrong one. Where's my bald filter at? Hello? There we go. So it's got to be someone who we would have signed anyway. That's the key. And then integrate, because this league season's a write-off. We all, in my view, it's a write-off. So get someone who we would have signed anyway, integrate them into the team, basically fast forwarding and thinking about next season. So let's say, for example, we sign this central player. They don't come in fresh in August, September, and they've got to get up to speed with how we play. Give them half a season to play and get up to speed. And then by the time the start of the season commences, that's a really bad way of putting it. When next season commences, they'll be up to scratch and they'll be ready and raring to go. So that's what I would do. We have bald filters for super chats. Of course we do. You know, it's a thing. I turn into Pep Guardiola. It's a thing. Members get random footballers. Super chatters get fortune cookies. And they also make me bald. It's a thing. Thunder Road, why do you not like my top? That's outrageous. Yeah, absolutely. That is no. The stat is true. I can confirm that stat is true. Whether it's totally, legitimate is a different question. But as a standalone stat, it is true, which is mad. And yeah, sorry, what was this? Would you miss Rico, Nunes, Walker if all benched? Would I miss? What do you mean? Would I miss them? Like miss them in the team, or like as people? Ideally, none of them should be starting. Walker clearly isn't good enough to start. Nunes, even though I've talked about how he could solve a lot of problems for us, he's not City quality right now. He's not good enough to start right now. And Rico Lewis is a young kid and isn't really good enough to start for us right now. He should be like a squad rotation option. So, in an ideal world, they would all be on the bench. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Apparently, Paul, he wasn't fully fit, according to Pep. To get right back in a DM and a centre-back, I think, as well. In an ideal world. Samasi, thank you so much for the super chat, mate. Again, I don't know why my camera's messing up there, but it is. If I like close it and then go back into it, maybe I can fix it in case there's a future super chat. Fortune for Samasi. Fortune. That's gone away again. It is better to be the hammer than the anvil. So what does that mean? So it's better to be the one forging than... No, so it's better to be the one, what? Doing an action rather than receiving an action. So this is saying active voice is superior to passive voice. Yeah, fairs. There's some English language coming out there, lads. You can take that in many ways, I guess. You can take it to the bedroom if you'd like to. You know, it's better to do the thrusting than be the thrustee. That's also what it's saying. So, yeah, big up to you, Samasi. You can read all sorts into those. Catch up. Thank you, Samasi, for the super chat. Musiala 16 G in 19 games. That's crazy. I do like Musiala a lot. A lot. He's one of my favourite players to watch. Exactly, Spartacus, yes. Personally, I think Rico's quick rise to first team hasn't helped. His innovative sets his bar really high, says Thomas. Yeah, and on Rico, because again, I'm a big Rico Lewis fan. I'm a big defender of him. My bold filter is like not... It should be disabling after like 30 seconds. It's in an endless loop right now. I like Lewis, but we're just not in a position whereby we can justify him starting, in my view. I just don't think that is the reality of the situation. I think that camera's now fine. It might be. It might not be, though. If someone sends another super chat, then maybe I'll find out. We'll find out later, maybe. Who knows? Yeah, again, I feel like... It is upsetting. I'm just repeating myself over and 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 over again. But again, physical platforming isn't there for him to start. We can't have a midfielder Bernardo and Gundogan. It just can't happen. We've got to avoid that at all costs. Back to just like the general game, and then I'll get back to the chat again. What else do I have to say? What else do I have to say? So, spoken about the individual errors from Walker. Ortega, again, I like Ortega, and I'm not saying he was at fault. I'm not saying if Ederson was playing today, then we would have been much better. But all I am saying is that games like this do tell me why Ederson is still the number one. He's just not quite good enough on the ball, is Ortega. That's my view on it. I like Ortega a lot. I think he's an unbelievable number two, but I think he is a number two rather than number one. Slight positive. I thought Gvardiol played well today. He hasn't played many games at centre-back for City. I thought today he was decently solid, so fair play to Gvardiol. Ruben Diaz, unreal. And this is why you should never, ever, 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 ever give any credence to bloody FootMob or SofaScore ratings. They've given Ruben Diaz a 6.3. A 6.3. That is insane to me. He kept us in the match numerous times with his ridiculous blocking. Ruben Diaz, in respect of sorting out the back line, he's doing as much as, in the same way that Walker is doing as much as he can do to destroy that backline solidity. Ruben Diaz is doing the absolute utmost to be the glue and keep it all together. So shout out Ruben Diaz. He is our captain. Let's all be honest here. We've touched on Núñez out wide. Again, he did as much as he could do. But I need his attributes elsewhere right now. Especially if we're not able to start Grealish. Now I need his attributes elsewhere. De Bruyne played all right today. I think he was good. I do think he was a little bit wasted at times for the reasons I've discussed. I feel like he could have been better utilised. He maybe should have had... He didn't get an assist there. He maybe should have had an assist. You know, that Haaland chance where he's slightly leaning towards it. Maybe he could have had an assist there. But I want De Bruyne to be more involved in the play. And I think you can do that by stationing him outside the block rather than more so in it. That's maybe where I'd like to see him utilised in the future going forwards. To help unlock other plays as well. Whether it was Bernardo against Forest or inferior Savio today. Haaland scored a goal. Lovely finish. Again, maybe he could have scored the other one. But maybe that's being harsh. Again, could have. Not should have, could have. I have high expectations of who I consider to be the best striker in the world, in fairness. So that's that. That is that in terms of City's individuals. It's the same old story, though. Same experienced players giving away the ball in weird areas. Rico Lewis took his goal really well. Again, we know the frailties and the weaknesses with Lewis. I don't know where the value is in going on about them. I'm sure that if certain players were available, Pep wouldn't have started this team. But we just got to be doing better. Like whether it's, Rico Lewis shielding it and just like getting done, or whether it's Gundogan again thinking that he's Rodri and just giving up possession so cheaply. It's so disappointing from... I can accept to an extent a player like a Rico Lewis doing that because, again, he's young. He's an academy player. He's still learning his trade. We still don't even fully know what his best position is. And he's physically not there. I've got less patience for players like, Bernardo Silva and Gundogan, Kovacic when he plays as well. So that's an issue. That is an error. An error. We at least didn't lose. Positivity. We at least didn't lose. And maybe on another day, we don't make the silly individual errors. And maybe on another day, we win 2-0. But that being said, we still conceded far too many on the counter-attack. Ruben Diaz was called into action far too frequently for my liking. And that's the situation. Let's just catch up on the chat. That's the one Mad Hatter, absolutely. Let's save the Champions League with De Jong and Tar among other incomings, says Hungera. I don't think so. Rico is shit, and today his goal saved him from getting a 0 rating. It was a very well taken goal, but it wasn't ideal, was it? Would I do Rico plus 60 million for Bruno G? No. I'd do McAtee, though, because I don't think McAtee's really got a future at this club, in all honesty, which is a shame because I like McAtee. I think Rico Lewis does have a future. I wouldn't do that, personally. Would you keep Ortega as number 1 keeper if Edison left? No. I don't think that would be good enough. I think we'd have to go shopping. Yeah, definitely. Again, I like Ortega, but I don't think he's a number 1. At City. At City, anyway. I fixed the camera issue. Thank you so much, cool guy, for your very generous super chat. I'll give you your fortune in a moment. In an ideal world, a DM, centre-back, right-back in Jan, and backup striker in 10 in June. It depends on outgoings as well. It depends on outgoings. Because there is a world where 7 players go. We've touched on this many times. Edison might go. There is a world, guys, where both our keepers go. Because Ortega allegedly... Oh, Jeremy, I put a new link. Let's see if it's still there. There we go. Because allegedly, Ortega's not happy unless he's going to be a number 1. So there is a world where we need to sign 2 goalkeepers. One is like our new number 1 and then a new number 2. If we go out and sign a new number 1 and Ortega's like, right, well, I'm going to leave then, we might need to sign 2 goalkeepers. We certainly need at least 1 more centre-back. I'm sorry, but we can't have Ake and Stones in the team. One of them has to go, in my view. And I love them both. I love them both. But one of them has to go. We can't rely on 2 injury-prone defenders in the first. Yeah, we need a right-back. Depending on what the long-term future is for Gvardiol, like do we keep him at left-back? Do we want to move him to centre-back? We'll need a left-back there as well. We need at least 2 midfielders. And we need at least 1 offensive creator via the pass. That's what we need as well. That's a lot of players I've just named there. It's a big overhaul going on. And maybe we'll need even more. Maybe we'll need even more if more players go. Maybe. The issue is I don't know who's available, Mr. Brawl, so it totally depends. It totally depends. If Akanji is back, then I would run Akanji right back, Diaz, JSP centre back, and Gvardiol left back. That's what I would do. I think Akanji's our best right back right now. If Akanji isn't available, and Lewis isn't available because of suspension, it's going to have to be Walker, Diaz, Gvardiol, JSP, isn't it? So we need someone to come back ASAP. ASAP Rocky. Should tomorrow be a great Arsenal loss, they can swim it with us in the muck. Oh dear. I agree, Jeremy. I agree. I think he could be better used elsewhere. And this is why this is why my in an ideal world, the dream midfield, as we saw it towards the end of last season, is to have Foden and De Bruyne there, because Foden is that small space player, De Bruyne more long space, so they complement each other really well. Again, that's what we saw towards the end of last season. We need our players to come back. Deary me. No. Next year. We keep talking about the same things in the chat, but Pep doesn't see it. Or he sees it and thinks that it's the lesser of two evils. So he obviously knows, because he keeps talking about the frailty, physicality, duel winning. He knows it's an error. Like, again, we all know that Pep is a lot smarter than all of us here when it comes to the football. A lot smarter than all of us. So he knows the landscape. So he's clearly picking a poison there. Now, maybe the poison I'm offering is worse, but I think that I want to at least see it. I at least want to see it. Like, loads of people saying Nunes isn't going to be good enough in midfield. Why don't we try it on a relatively consistent basis in the first instance, and then we'll rule it out. Let's give him a few games. If we're not, if Grealish isn't available for the next few games for whatever reason, let's give him a go. Give him a go. Why not? I think club will sell Ake because of the minimum English players in the squad rule, not Stones. There is the possibility of Callum Doyle at Norwich, but I don't watch Norwich. I've tried to ask people who watch the Championship. They've said they're not watch enough of Norwich to know. But I know that he's a left-footed centre-back who can play at left-back, or maybe it's the other way round. Hey, maybe that's an option as well. But he's had a couple of Championship loans now. I'd like to see him get some Premier League football. Indeed, and to be fair, Unknown, our whole team thrives when that's the case as well. Again, against Forest, you saw the change. You saw the shift in approach. You get me? Today, I do agree, Bido, yeah. Because we were just punting it out, and then Haaland would win it, and then maybe we get a second ball. So I do agree with that, definitely. Ted Lasso in, yeah, big up. Oh, yeah, of course, Spartacus, you're right. Yeah. Spot on. 1 win and 9 is smelly for anyone. Talk less of us, I'm afraid. We've got to. Yeah, I'm with you, Sebastian. Again, I like Ortega, but as my number one, not for me. Not for me. That EA, that would be my dream midfield. That would be unbelievably class. That midfield is perfect. That's what I wanted. That's what I said in my fucking transfer target video. I wanted that midfield. Can you imagine that as a box? Solid. And maybe Gavardio pushing up to the left to make that box a reality, yeah? Ooh. Oh, what could have been. What could have been, but for things. Let's get the likes up, by the way, guys. Let's get the likes up, please. Please, and thank you. Thank you very much, Lee. United Forest still playing. Oh, it's still 3-2. Oh, it's the 87th minute. You've lost one game all season. Do you think we have a shot to Surrey? We've probably got a shot to draw. But I think we need to win at this point, don't we? I think we need to win at this one. Am I the only one not too angry? I feel the team showed a lot of character, considering the shit we've been through. Could have very well won it without the red card. Now, yeah, I'm not angry. I was angry after the Liverpool game because I was just so flabbergasted at how we set up. I thought that was bizarre, to be honest. I'm not angry because I've already accepted the league is gone, so I'm chilling in that respect. I do agree that this performance compared to, I mean, obviously we didn't lose, but, compared to, Bournemouth, even, maybe not that far. I was going to say even Fulham, but maybe not. It's obviously better than Bournemouth, Spurs, Liverpool. I think this performance is probably on a similar level to Wolves. We just happened to get a very fortunate, well, don't know if it's fortunate. We happened to win via a corner at the end. I think there were a lot of parallels between these two games. I think, thankfully, we've now discovered how to be good at corners on our right side, so that saved us. Alas, we weren't able to be saved today. Yeah, I'd love that in midfield. That'd be my dream. Yeah, it's crazy. I prefer Bruno Spartacus. I know I love Tchouaméni. I actually prefer Camavinga. I like Tchouaméni a lot, but I prefer my Bruno boy. Got fisted by the wind. Yeah, crazy. How many times did Diaz clear the ball with the head and leads to another chance? I thought Diaz played well though. Hello. Nanga just frustrated. Yeah, indeed. No photo, no corners. Yeah. Oh, that is mad, you know. That is mad that we've got one player in the squad who's apparently really good at corners now. Only one. Mad. What's my favourite CFG club except for City? I know New York City, and that's about it. There's the Australian one, isn't there? But I've forgotten what they're called. I know the badge. It's like a red cross. I'll have to say New York. But that's just because it's the name. Don't get me if you lost, they had a man sent off, but they've also drawn the last 4 games in a row. I think we're going to see a 1-1 draw versus Juve. If we lose to United, I'll lose my head. Yeah. We've got to... This season's a write-off in terms of the league for me. Melbourne, thank you. We can't lose the derby. That can't happen. No. We at least need to have some sort of pride this season. Please. Please. I can't be bothered with that. Because even if, like, you know, United are shit and obviously finish below us, if they beat us, it's just like, it's just annoying. We can't not win that, guys. We can't not win that. We simply must. Especially if Forest beat them. Hey, Forest are currently beating United. They beat Liverpool. They drew against Chelsea. And we beat them. So the comeback is on, yeah? The comeback of Kings. The comeback of Kings is a thing. Should be able to beat them if Pep starts a better lineup to Sebastian. We should is the operative words there. Jesus, what's happened with Onana? Goals prevented minus 2.15. Oh my god. I'll obviously try to watch the game back after, but it sounds like Onana's had the stinkiest stinker in the history of stinkers. Mad. Big up Chris Woods, man. Big him up. Never scores against us. Always does say. Give Forest a title. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Spartacus, I get you. Chris Wood golden boot. If we line up like we did today, we'll lose it. No matter how bad the Rags are at the moment, it's not about who we play, it's us. We are the problem. Exactly, Herbal. We are our biggest enemy. Biggest enemy. Yeah, world-class performance. Yeah, big up Onana. Big him up. I don't know what else to say, guys. I don't know what else to say. I just want to wait for this to get... Oh, 7 minutes of added time in the Forest game. Oh, come on, mate. I'm sorry if, like, these post-mortems in recent weeks have become a little bit repetitive and boring, but it's because it's a repetitive issue. It's because the same issues keep happening, so I've got to keep talking about them. And it's boring to me. God knows what it's like to you. It's boring. I don't want to keep talking about it. But I've got to, because there's nothing else to talk about in that sense. Are there any other positives? I guess, you know, we actually scored 2 goals. That's nice. I guess. You know, that's a thing. Obviously, Kevin coming back, we create a lot more. Although chance creation was never really the issue. It was more about chance conversion. Any other positives, guys? Anything at all? Anything at all? It hasn't worked at all, has it? Hasn't worked at all. Either game's crucial to win. Don't think we have any shot at the top 8. I don't think we're getting top 8. I will be honest with you. I don't think we've got any chance at all. It's indeed Austin 316. Can't bother with the red. We didn't lose, so I'm not going to do the red. I still think that it's going to get better. Because, yeah, we're unbeaten in 2. Players are coming back. It's not good enough, obviously. I'm not saying we're going to go on some mad run. But I just get the vibe. It's I'm trying. This is a lot of copium here, a lot of hopium. It's all gonna get better because Akanji will be back next game, and Grealish will be able to start. And Doku will be able to start, and it'll be a lovely time. You have to go bold if we lose the derby. What if we don't lose the derby? That's a pretty big requirement. What if we don't lose the derby, Fuskan? Then what? Yeah. Then what, mate? Do a tier list of the City performance this season, rank from best to worst. Oh my god. Well, like right now, off the cuff, I'll get Man City squad up. Man City squad. Man City squad. It's hard because so many players haven't even been available. Wait, us having Man City 24, 25. Join the bold side. I don't want to join the bold side. I like my hair. I finally got a style that I like. It's only taken a million years. If we don't lose the derby, we've got to go bald. What? Is that already Man City tier list or what? 23, 24, 24, 25. It's just a whole squad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Cancelo's here. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. There's 24 players. That's too many. I don't think that tier list is good enough. There is a tier list maker there, but it's got fucking Cancelo and Calvin Phillips in it. So I don't know how optimal that is. Does it have everyone else? Does it have Gundogan? It doesn't even have Gundogan, guys. What a collapsed tier list that is. For show. Oh wait, this one was due in September. Oh, this might be better. Has this got Gundogan in it? It's got the main kits. Oh, it does have Gundogan in it. Do you want me to do a tier list, guys? Would that be interesting? Let me know, and I'll do it for you. Let me know. Cancelo was the glue. Shut up, man. Interesting that Lavia is not in the Rodri discussion. Sorry, I don't know what that means. Diaz best this season. He's playing well. Whereas Cancelo shuts up. You want it? Okay, guys. Right. I've forgotten which screen it is. I think it's this one here. I think. If I click this button, there's a bet. If this all pops off now, guys, then you're all at fault. I think it's this one here. I think. Okay, sick. I'm a genius. Right. Okay. I'm not going to come up with... normally when I do a tier list, I have witty names. But I can't be bothered with that shit, to be honest with you. Right. Okay. Edison isn't here. What is this? There is no Edison here. Who made this? Is anyone else missing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18. There's only 19 players here. Good God, there's so many players missing. That's stinky. Let me see if I can find another one. 1 second, guys. 8th of November, this one is. Is this one actually got all the fucking players in it? This one got Scott Carson in it. And Phillips. And Peroni. Does it have Gundogan? It does. Okay, this one's better. Here we go. Right. I think this has got basically everyone in it. It's got too many players. So immediately, let's make like a... How do you... I've forgotten how you add things. Is it like this? Add row below. We're going to call that not applicable. Because they don't count. There we go. Not applicable. So, Calvin Phillips doesn't count. I'm sorry, Wilson Esperin doesn't count. Carson doesn't count. Bob doesn't count. Rodri doesn't count. Peroni doesn't count. Anyone else doesn't count. Does McAtee even count? Is Nico O'Reilly's not here? What a shame. I don't even think if McAtee should count, to be honest. I don't think I think it's not applicable. Okay, at least United lost, guys. Hooray! City draw, United lose. Oh, City. Right, S tier. Let's start with our best players. I think, who has been our best player this season? Is the answer, get in D right now. Is the answer simply Ruben Dias? Where's Ruben? There he is. Get my boy in S tier immediately. Get my boy in S tier, because this guy, without him, I don't know where our defense would be. So shout out to Ruben Dias. Shout him out. Is this enough tiers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, a B is middling in it. B is middling. Go in a row from players, not tiers. Indeed. I'm just doing it randomly. Without Haaland, we're in relegation. D had an F right now. Okay. Stinks of urine. Treble lad. Zendaya. What should we have for A? It is decent. And what should we have for the one just above stinks of piss? Stinks of urine, sorry. Simply get a grip, lads. Get a grip, lads. There we go. Stinks of urine. Walker's going to have his own tier, I reckon. I don't think anyone else has stunk of urine this season. These are the ones, yeah? Add it below there. Right, okay. Exactly, Jack. Yeah, big up. Yeah, Zendaya, that means mid. You guys know my thoughts on Zendaya. Stinks of Nobbins, what the hell? That's crazy. Right, okay. Should we just do it like randomly or vibes? I'm going to do it by vibes, I think. Right, Gundogan. Ilkay. I've been disappointed in his return to City. I can't lie to you. I don't think that he's anywhere near hit the levels that I would have thought he would have hit. I've been upset with a lot of the performances. A lot of it isn't his fault. So apply that context. Apply that context. Because he didn't come here to play every single bloody game. And let me know if you guys disagree, by the way. Let me know if you disagree. And maybe I'll move them. But this is my tier list, so I might not move them. But I'll be interested to hear what you guys have to say. But I think he deserves to be below mid. I don't think he's been mid. I think that for the most part, he's been stinky. So I think that he should be in the get a grip lads tier. Get Scott Carson treble. Scott Carson is in. I can put Scott Carson at the top of this one. I'd say we'll put the big lads there. You know, Bob, Rodri, Carson. They can all go up there. We'll have McAtee next. And then, I don't know, Peroni, because why not? And then, yeah, Phillips at the bottom, obviously, because we all know that. Gvardia overall should be SS Sebastian. He smells a bit like urine here. Last couple of games have been all right, though. Yeah, this is overall, in fairness. I think Gundogan has had a couple good games. So I'm thinking that he should go in there. I'm also applying a little bit of context, sort of. But I am mainly doing it. Actually, no, I'm not really applying context, actually. No, I tell a lie. I think I'm just going to do it straight up. How have you performed? Not relative to how you should be performing. How have you performed? That's what I'm going to do. I think that's fair. We can apply blanket situations for everyone. Rodri to get his own Ballon d'Or tier. Now, a player like Ake is really tricky because whenever he's played, I feel like this season, I feel like he's been good. Unless I'm like massively misremembering, I feel like whenever he has played, it has been decent. You know, obviously injuries have been tricky. And maybe that should bump down his ranking. But I'm trying to do it just based off how the performance has been rather than throwing in injuries. Because otherwise that makes it a little bit trickier. What do you guys think, though? Nathan Ake. Treble lad just for the Liverpool game. We need new signings, says Vasco, 100%. He's played out 3 games. He has, but Fuskan, of those 3 games, has he been decent? That's the question that we have to ask ourselves. That is the question we have to ask ourselves. Again, yeah, small sample size, but he's done all right in his games. I think he's done more than all right. I think it's been decent. Staffy says good, just needs new legs. One of the better defenders, at least Zendaya level. Would you guys be more comfortable popping in Zendaya? Because maybe the comparison should be a Gvardiol. Where does Gvardiol go? Because I think Gvardiol deserves to be higher than Ake, whether it's horizontally or vertically. I know that Gvardiol's not been great in terms of, you know, those games against, who was it now? You know the games, I mean, where he kept giving away silly balls and such. Where do you think Gvardiol should live? Because don't forget, the start of the season, he started brilliantly well. I think he should be higher than Zendaya, personally. I think he deserves to go in there. But what do you guys think? He has done a lot of mistakes in the past few games, but he's also done a lot of good things as well. So it's about the balance, isn't it? It's all about the balance. Silver to have his own tier to Saudi. Oh my god. You think good? Yeah, remember, Zendaya is mid. Zendaya is like a 5 out of 10 sort of vibe. Yeah? So if treble tier is like top, because ignore not applicable. So we've got, so middle is Zendaya, right? Decent is fair. Sebastian thinks top tier. I think just because of the mistakes, I don't think I can pop him in top tier, especially compared to, although Diaz did give away a silly mistake for Liverpool's second goal, but still, that's the thing. No lower than the, says Sebastian. Yeah, I think that's fair. Guevara second tier, but in fairness, he's been ran to the ground. Yeah, I do agree. Yeah, start of the season, I think he's in top tier. Outside of that, no. I think that there's going to be a lot, the vast majority of these players are going to be in Zendaya, i.e. they haven't been particularly good, but for the most part, they haven't been particularly bad. I think the majority are going to go in Zendaya. That's not applicable. I'm going to rename this Vibes. Because these guys don't count. Because I can't count Scott Carson or Rodri or Bob or McAtee or Peroni or Wilson Esprand or Phillips. I don't think that's fair. So I'm not going to do it. Can I zoom in a little bit? I can. Nah, but there you can't see the other players. Right. Who else have we got? Who shall we go to next? Kovacic, shall we? Kovacic. I think that it's not been perfect. There have been errors. We know that he's not a 6. But I think that when Kovacic played, I've been impressed more so than I thought I was going to be. I think Kovacic probably deserves to go in decent, meaning good. Musty thinks Zendaya, okay. What do you guys think? The reason why I think that is because I think that with what he's had to deal with, he's obviously done as good a job as he can do. I think he's done better than Gundogan in that sense. Cover's good as a good backup as a second pivot, you say. We need Cover in this period. Definitely decent, says Southpack. So I think that's reasonable. Maybe I put him below Gvardiol just because I was really impressed with Gvardiol's peak. So maybe I would do that. I think that's perfectly reasonable. And I do think that if Kovacic was in the side right now, I do think that we would be in a better situation. Get Bob in treble just for how he's making Lissandro breakdowns in the Community Shield. Koa in the period we just had could have... Absolutely, sir. I do agree with that. So, some people are saying Zendaya. I'm going to go for it is decent. Remember, that just means like above... It is decent just means above average. That's all it means. That's all it means. Zendaya is like average. Get a grip, lad, is bad. It's not, yeah, it's bad. Stinks of urine is shit. Yeah? Okay, so that's the situation there. one more player, and then we can just have the players here. Who shall we go to next? Shall we tackle one of the academy lads? Shall we start with let's start with Phil Foden. Shall we do it? I think that mid is absolutely fair. I think that the performances have been massively overblown in terms of like people shitting on him. I think he's had one objectively bad game, and that was against Liverpool. Every other game he started, he hasn't what's the phrase? Pulled up trees. But I think that overall it's been absolutely fine. Zendaya is absolutely fine because remember Zendaya is like mid. Yeah, it's mid. I thought he played well against Fulham. I thought he played well against Southampton. I thought he played well against Bournemouth. I thought he played all right against Brighton. All right. Brilliant against Sporting. And very good in all our other Champions League games. Good against Feyenoord. But really shit against Liverpool. And in fairness, everyone was shit against Liverpool, in fairness. When he started, I actually think he's been all right. Sadly, as we all know, massive squad issues, and that's been a thing. But overall this season, again, I think that the Liverpool game is massively taking the average down, and so I'm being fair there, so I'm going to pop him in Zendaya. I think that's absolutely fine. Mitigating circumstances, injuries, whatever, but I'm not taking into account mitigating circumstances. I'm not trying to apply context. I'm just trying to get rid of context as much as I can, try to focus just on performance. So I think Zendaya is absolutely perfectly fine. Who next, guys? Again, I think a lot of these are going to be in Zendaya, to be honest. Savio, I think probably another one, would you say? I don't think I'm be comfortable, even though I think I'd probably pop him at the top of that tier. I don't think he's quite been good enough to be popped into it as decent. I like how Savio's played a lot, but I don't think it's been on the same level as Gvardiol or Kova for the majority of the season. Again, he's been one of our better creators this year, and when De Bruyne wasn't here, it was like him and Foden basically trying to do all the creative burden. So I think that you think above Foden but behind Ake, I think that's reasonable. That's absolutely fine. So we've got Savio there. He's chilling. Again, I would like more from him. I don't think he belongs in Get a Grip. I don't think that's fair to Savio. I think average is about right. I could have a bit more. You think Savio should be in a lower tier? I don't think so. He's seeing this treble lad for sure, but there's just a few things he lacks, so I'll do Zendaya. Yeah, fairs. Who else needs to get a grip? I'm going to put him at the higher end of Get a Grip, but Bernardo Silva has been annoying me in the majority of this season. I don't really know what's going on. Is it just as simple as he needs KDB to unlock him? Perhaps. I think that Bernardo needs to get a grip. Lad. I'd have him higher than Gundogan, though. I would have him higher than Gundogan. But I'm just not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. In that period where De Bruyne wasn't in the team and he was starting out at right wing, it was just like, it was like pulling teeth at times. And when he's in the centre, his performances do increase, but it's not on the level required in the centre. That's harsh. I love Bernardo. And maybe put him at the top end. I think he could squeeze into the lower end of Zendaya, but I'm going to say he does need to get a grip. I'll tell you who else needs to get a grip. For the most part, he played very well against Forest. Played very well. Akanji has not been good enough this season. Far too many defensive errors when playing at centre-back. He played brilliantly against Forest, and that was lovely. But it's not good enough from Akanji. I don't think he's been that good this season. That's a shame, because I like Akanji a lot. But I think the get a grip tier is absolutely fair for Akanji. He's not been good enough. He's not provided like solidity in terms of box defense. Ruben Diaz coming back has had to be that bozo moments. That's the term I'm looking for. Absolutely. You think above Bernardo? I don't mind. It's more about I don't really mind about horizontals. It's more the vertical I'm interested in. But yes, that's absolutely fine. Akanji looks injured, says Louise. And again, maybe these players are injured, but I'm trying to take context out of it as much as possible. As I think Akanji does need to get a grip, in all honesty. Akanji's been playing injured. He has. And that's why I'm putting him at the top. That's why I'm putting him at the top of that list. That's fine. I think that's fine. Lewis, I think, even though it's not necessarily all his fault, yes. Yeah. Again, big fan of Rico Lewis, as you guys all know. Big fan of Rico. I thought he started the season really well. Great against Chelsea. He locked down Kudus against West Ham. I was really worried for him that day. He played fantastically well. And he sort of lost his way a little bit. And it's partly because of how the team is structured around him. But I just think on an individual level as well, I think he belongs in the same tier as, Bernardo and Gundogan. Personally, that's what I would say to that. August 2024 Rico was treble, lads, as called. Yeah, definitely. But since then, there has been a deterioration. Maybe it's because he's playing so many games, being played out of position. Again, this tier list is not about context. It's, of course, it's not going to be these players' faults. I'm trying to purely base it off the performance overall. Gahey. What's Gahey done, Jack? Has he said something or done something? What's going on? Oh, wait. Bringing Gahey in the back. Wait, bringing Gahey? What? I thought he'd said something in an interview at Adrian. No, I don't think Gahey's the one, lad. I don't think Gahey's the one. I wonder how does a chaotic guy like Walker get to be captain, especially in a team full of youngsters? Well, as we know, Stinks of Urine is there. I don't think anyone else belongs in the Stinks of Urine tier, in fairness. Erling Haaland's got to be in it as decent because he's the Golden Boot forerunner as things stand, I think. I think he's only second man Salah on assists. So by definition, he's got to be in it is decent. Surely. Some performances maybe haven't been that good. Maybe could have done a little bit better in terms of his finishing at times. Maybe in terms of his pressing. But we have to accept that without his goals, I don't know where we'd be. And again, he's level Golden Boot winner right now. So I think he deserves to be in high decent. I'm not going to say low treble. Spoilers, I don't think anyone gets into treble lad apart from Ruben Diaz. I think he's the only one. I don't think I want to put anyone else in there. Top of decent or low. Yeah, I will keep him at the top. We'll keep him at the top. But I don't think he quite gets into that treble lads tier. Southwark says he is. Only thing that takes away from him is the chances he's missed. Yeah, that is the thing. That is the issue. Sometimes we've been able to, kill games and the lackluster finishing has been there. So I'm going to put him top of decent. And I think that's reasonable. I think that's fair. Holland sucks. Chill on it. It gets a bit tricky now because, again, Stones has barely played. When he has played, he's looked good. But he's only played like a couple games. But he looked really good when he did play them. DS won't shout me. What an L. He obviously scored the equaliser against Arsenal. Scored the winner against Wolves. We look better as a team when he's in it. We know we can't rely on him. I'm not talking about injuries here. I think that therefore he probably should be in Zendaya based on performances. Low-key vibes. I think he's played enough football for him to make this list. I think that based on that, he should be in there. Again, we're dealing with a very small sample. It's similar to Ake. We're dealing with a very small sample size, but what he has done is fair, I think. So I'm going to pop him up in there. Let me know if you guys disagree, though. Where would you put Johnny Stones? Where would you put John the lad? Johnny Stones. Again, I'm going to give him the goals. The performances. We do look better with him in the team. Again, it's just a shame you can't stay fit. John, why do you do these things to me? Let me down all the time. Based on hairstyles. Oh my god. Oh gosh. Holland's like playing with one less player. Civil movement. I don't know what's going on there, mate. Vibes says, now he's played enough football. He's played enough football and contributed enough to get in there. Another tricky one, Jack Grealish, who once again has hardly played. I feel like based on that, you've got to like put him in there just based on the sample size. But again, it's really tricky because he's barely got any minutes. So I don't know what is fair or reasonable. It's a really tricky one to try to judge. Well, Jono, chill. This trim is fire. Less of that. Less of that. I'll rank a goalkeeper after. Yeah. Definitely. Where would you have Jack? Again, I feel like that is an impossible one to rank. I think he's played less than Stones, hasn't he? He started the season injured. Came back, got injured again. Came back, not fit today. I think top as Zendaya. Purely based on those short performances. He was shit against Feyenoord, though. He was shit against Feyenoord. That is going against him. But he was very good against Forest. And I thought he was fine when he came on today. So, yeah, that's definitely the right tier. Maybe with more sample size, maybe he'd find himself further down the list. But that's a thing. I don't actually know. If Grealish is decent other than that, Zendaya or Get a Grip. Bottom of decent or top of... top MJ. Oh, from... because she's a MJ in Spider-Man, yeah. Middle of Zendaya, you say? No, I'm going to put Ake at the top. I like Ake. I'm going to pop him there. I like Ake's performances, sorry. Right. Ortega. It's one of these two. He's not going in It Is Decent. No shot. It's either Get a Grip or Zendaya. I think both goalkeepers go in the same tier. I will say that much. Again, we're dealing with a relatively small sample size in respect of Ortega. He did a good save against Forest. He's been good in the Champions League as well. Zendaya, you think? Yeah. That's probably about right. I'm also going to pop Edison in Zendaya. I think they've both been mid. I personally think Edison's been better. I'm not forgetting start of the season where we were conceding masses of 1v1s over and over and over and over again, and Edison bailed us out. So I'm having Edison ahead of Ortega personally, but I think it's much of a muchness wherever you play them. Ortega in mid Zendaya. Ortega's better than Edison this season. I don't think I agree, Elder. I don't think I agree. I think that Edison's shot stopping at the start of the season was impressive. I think that we've missed Ortega's distribution when he's not been in the side. I'm personally going Edison over, but again, I think it's pretty even between the two. I'm putting Savio over Stones. I'm doing it. Sample sizes, maybe put Savio over Stones. I've just decided. That's what I decided. Same with that as well. I'm sorry, Stones. Sample size. So, Gunn Walker, Holland dragging the team down. What world are we living in? Right. Okay. Again, tricky player. Kevin De Bruyne. Guys. Very small sample size. Once again. But he started the season very well before the injury. Played well against Forest. Played fine today. I think he's in. It is decent. I think. Not been particularly good when he came on in like cameo appearances in recent weeks. But I think that he deserves to go there. What you guys think Zendaya? Am I talking shit? What do you guys think? I think he probably deserves to go in that top tier. Maybe not there. Maybe like there. You guys think Zendaya though? Rename Zendaya to 23-24 KDP. What? Low decent, says Dave. Treble lad for the vibes. Suffers from lack of availability. Can't deny he's still one of our biggest contributors, so he's in decent. I don't feel comfortable putting De Bruyne in Zendaya. I think that when he started, the influence he has on the team is so apparent. It's so apparent. Forest performance doing a lot of carrying. And also the performances at the start of the season, to be fair, Fuscan, before his injury, you know, those first 3 games before the injury, I think that's reasonable. Before the Inter injury. Decent for Louise. Zendaya at best, says Ryan. I'm putting him towards the lower end of decent. So maybe you guys are popping him in the higher end of Zendaya, so there's not too much of a difference there. In fairness, not too much of a difference there. Finally, guys, we've got Doku and we've got Nunes. Let's start with Doku, shall we? Jeremy. Once again, I feel like I'm saying this with every single player. Maybe not the biggest sample size. He's not going in, it is decent. I think that he's probably in and around the same area as Savio. I don't think there's been that much of a difference between their performances over the course of the season. I think Savio started the season better. And I think that Doku's now performing better than Savio. I'd actually say that Savio over the course of the season has been better than Doku. I'm not forgetting the start of the season where Doku was struggling, Savio was playing really well. Now it's the other way around, you could argue. So I'd say they're in Zendaya. Doku could be anything, says Dave. I'm going to pop him there, personally. I think that's where I put him. I'm not comfortable putting him in ahead of Savio. And whilst I think that, you know, Doku's... Maybe Doku's reached a higher high than a Foden or a Savio, for example. That's exactly right. I think he's had better moments. But over the course of a season, which is what this is, I don't think I can place him any higher. I think that's reasonable. I think that's fair. Also, injuries are a thing, so it's really tricky. The last one, guys. Last one. Mateus Nunes. A really tricky one to rank. Does he deserve to be in? It is decent. Question mark. Because he's been doing some bits. Has Mateus. And he's also had a couple of stinky performances, like against Liverpool. Sebastian says, get a grip. Really? I thought he's been playing quite well. Nunes didn't get a grip, says Sebastian. His numbers say yes. High Zendaya. Nunes top of Zendaya. You guys saying hell no, and no one's saying yes. See, this is a controversial one, I feel like. See, lots of people saying yes, lots of people saying no, so it's obviously it's not straightforward. Yes, this is mad. Some people are saying get a grip. Some people are saying it is decent. So this is the most what's it? This is the most contentious one. Nunes has been decent, says unknown. Sebastian says I meant Zendaya. Oh, fairs. Hi, Zendaya. I don't trust him, says Louise. For me, it's either a high Zendaya or a low decent. Because he is contributing a lot out at left wing, in fairness to him. I don't think he's had many bad games. I think he played badly against Liverpool. There's not many, though. He's definitely had more good games than bad. Nunes is in Zendaya. Yeah, the question becomes, do you think he's been as good as Kevin De Bruyne and Kovacic and Haaland this season? The answer to that is probably no, if I'm being honest. If I put Nunes here, I feel like that looks out of place to me. I'm looking at this team, I'm looking at these players, I'm like, one of these is not like the others. I think maybe he deserves to go in at the top end. Low, decent, or high Zendaya, I think is probably fair for Nunes. That's a really tricky one. Again, I had some people saying get a grip. I had some people saying it is decent. I think the truth is probably in the middle somewhere. Jack says that's not right. Okay, tell me more. Yeah. Oh, sorry. This is not where it was in. It is decent. Yeah, it looked odd to me. That looks better. I think that's a pretty good summation of how our players have been this year. In all honesty, you can split hairs between like the ordering of Zendaya and Get a Grip, but I think in terms of the actual tiers, I think that's about right. I think that's about right. The people on the higher end, you could argue go into the other tier. The players on the lower end, you could argue go into the other tier. Maybe that's a thing. The Get a Grip people should get a grip. They should get a grip. I agree. I agree. Do Pep. Pep's got to get a grip. Pep's going in the same. Pep's going next to Gundogan. Pep's got to get a grip this season for me. I think it's been making far too many errors in terms of personnel. And again, I appreciate there are injuries, but it's not good enough from my perspective. I think too many times he's set City up to fail. Not maliciously, but in reality, I think I'd put him in Get a Grip. Pep low-key next to Walker. He doesn't. I'm not going to say he stinks of urine because he has done some good stuff. ID, Zendaya means mid. That's like average. Poor season from Pep, says Staffy Dave. Rank Lilo, shut up, Jack. Calvin Phillips treble tier. Bernardo low-key in the Walker tiers. Guys, meaty. I don't know. I love the word meaty. That's such a funny word to me. Gundo's bang average. Lord, we haven't put him in the average tier. We've put him bottom end of Get a Grip. Average is Zendaya. He's not average. We think he's below average. For the purposes of this tier list, anyway. So yeah, I'm having Pep and Get a Grip. In the round, Rico, Lewis, and Gundogan. That's where I'd personally put him. Where would you guys put Pep? In terms of his, not as a player, obviously. In terms of his coaching this season, his management. Where are you guys popping him? Let me know. I think Get a Grip lad is reasonable. I think that's fair. Gavara's made too many mistakes in recent games, but he also had an unbelievable start to the season, and that was a bad period, yes, but I still think that he deserves to get up there. Pep fucked his setup, says ID. Yeah, we've spoken about that. Pep and Get a Grip vibes for Chono. Love the man, want to stay forever, but we have to admit his tactical decisions have cost us games this season. Low tier, Get a Grip. Totally agree, Herbal. Totally agree. Pep might be below Walker. Pep should use Ake as a DM. Interesting. Interesting. I mean, Ake's injured anyway, so that's largely irrelevant. ID, I don't agree with that. I think that is a thing. Oh, there we go. I think that's pretty accurate. Again, certainly the vertical is about there. The horizontal, maybe you can change a couple. But there we go. There we go. I think that's reasonable. I think that's fair. I think that's good. And with that, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up because we have been live for, an hour and 40. Yeah, so we'll call it a day there. I'm now going to go and eat some food. And then I'm going to work on the analysis video. It's basically going to be a lot of what we spoke about today, but in a nicer 10-minute or so format. Can I do a prediction for Bruno G? It's probably not going to happen. But I need it to happen, so you get me. I'm good. Don't go anywhere though, chaps, because I'm going to redirect you. Because in an hour In an hour, LB's going live for a panel show, I believe. And he's asked me to redirect you there, so I will do it. Why are we not at 115 likes? Great question, Ultimate. If you haven't liked the video, why do you hate me? Like the video. Do it now or else. Oh, this is such a shame. Someone called Elia 4 hours ago. This is before the kickoff today. Well, we said we're finally back. Commenting on one of my videos. We're finally back. Sadly, alas, no. Not a thing. If you weren't ending, someone would be catching a fat timeout. Yeah, Lord, I get it that you don't like Gundogan, but this is a bigger issue than just Gundogan. I would chill on it. Non-likers sharing tears of walkers. Yeah, absolutely. Bunch of bums. Pay rent, lads. Pay rent. And leave a like. Yeah? I'm not a happy clapper, Lord. I don't know how long you've been on this channel, but I've been criticising Pep since mid-last season. You can go watch the first You can go watch the first ever post-mortem in this series. It was a Chelsea game, and I went in. I was disappointed. I'm not a happy clapper. I'm not a happy clapper at all. I will call it how I see it and say, I don't think you've done a good tactical decision there. There we go. That's now going to redirect you to LB. Good stuff, guys. Right. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much to Cool Guy, to Samasi, Ugly Hood Rat, and Andrew Wright for the super chats today. Incredibly generous. Big up to you. Right, okay. On a real, genuine question. Are you a City fan, Lord? Are you a City fan? Because like, how is this comment helpful? On the real, what is the point of this comment? This is a player who literally won us the league last season, and you're literally just like openly laughing and having a go. I don't understand. What's the thought process there? You don't really seem to be a fan to me. Are you a troll? Are you actually a United fan in disguise? Because this isn't what a City fan says. At all. In any way, shape or form. We can criticise like a Kyle Walker for playing badly. But I need to hear from you. I need to hear from you now. Are you actually a City fan or are you one in disguise? Because this is weird. Oh, has he been timed out? Okay, fairs. This is like really bizarre to me. I get it. You don't like Gundogan. I don't like Gundogan's performances this season. Fine. But like this is something that like an online rival fan says. Do you get me? There's a difference between like criticizing and wanting someone to do better. And I've wanted Foden to do better this season, but I'm not going to. And I've in the same way I've wanted a lot of players to do well this season. ID, it's totally missing the point. There's a difference between saying I think Foden could have done better this season and this. This is not constructive. This is not helpful. This isn't helpful. This is just defamatory and having a go. This is like what a child rival fan does. You can sit there and you can say, I think he should be playing better. And I agree. I'd like him to be playing better. But I tell you what, he's been playing a lot better than some of our other players this season, despite what people are thinking. Do you get me? This is just unacceptable. An unacceptable way to talk about our players who are nowhere near. Well, it's an unacceptable way to talk about any player generally, but never mind a player who is nowhere near close to being an issue at City this season, or close to being the biggest issue. Or close to being like even like a top 5 issue. That's the point. And again, I'd expect this of like a rival, salty online fan. So for this to come out from a quote City fan, that tells me that you aren't a City fan. That's all I can really conclude, to be honest with you. I don't really get it. But there we go. It's a thing. Bedroom Pundits. Andy Turner, you are literally subscribed to a Bedroom Pundit channel. FYI. Don't know if you were aware of that. So yeah, people need to get a grip. And we're going through a bad patch. But if this is how you're acting in like a bad patch now when we've got Pep, I dread to think how you will act when inevitably City fall off long term, or rather aren't at the same levels, and this becomes more of a norm. Because you can't, what we've been doing for the past few years isn't normal. And hopefully, these people will like go get another club or something. Because there's a difference between being criticizing in a constructive manner and then whatever the hell that is. I have no idea what that is. Imagine disrespecting a player like that who spearheaded our league win last season and has, for a number of seasons, been whatever the team needs it to be. You need me to play on the left as a more dynamic winger? Okay, great. And I'll help us get to the Champions League final and win the title. You need me to play as what, like a false nine sort of player? Okay, great stuff. Then I can absolutely do that. Oh, and we'll win the title. You need me to like play out on the right? Okay, great. I'll do that. And the first half of the season, I was absolutely brilliant before I got, appendicitis or whatever it was he gets. You want me to play in the midfield and carry whilst De Bruyne is out? Okay, I've got it, boss. This is who you're talking about. Never mind the fact that he's an academy player from the area, he bleeds blue, and that's the way you're talking about him. That's just vile, quite frankly, and you just need to do better, to be honest. I can't lie to you. You need to do better. There's a difference between being constructively critical, and again, whatever the hell that is. Sort yourself out, Lord, and whoever has got that mentality. That's bizarre. Bizarre to me. Anyway, I didn't want to end on that sour note, but for some reason that happened. Had to address it. It was frustrating me. There we go. I was calm this time. I got rattled, but I stayed calm. So there we go. It's a generational bite on a rage bit. And maybe it is, Musty, but some people actually believe this, so I've got to address it, and I've got to call it out. I've got to call it injustices where I see it, yeah? Yeah, it also makes me feel better as well, because I get it off my chest. So even if it is bait, I'll take it, because maybe it tastes nice. Maybe I want to get hooked, yeah? Maybe I'll drag the hook in to the ocean and eat you, yeah? And that's not a euphemism. Or maybe it is. I don't know. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. Really hope you enjoyed somehow. I will try to work on the analysis video tonight. It will be a lot of what we've spoken about today. I'll watch the game again. Good times. Ryan, I've got one more thing. You have to accept the phone didn't score a goal in the Premier season. I don't know how awesome he did. I don't know how awesome he did last season. That's not the current season. Ryan, that's so not what I've said. That's so not what I've said, my child. My son. My lad. Why can't people listen? I thought I was quite coherent there. What are we doing, Ryan? Go back and listen. I'm not going to repeat myself. Please go back and listen and try to understand this time. Please. Goodbye, guys. Education is so important. Bye-bye.